I have with me today Dr. Ashok Sharma, Dean Academics, IMT Center for Distance Learning, Ghaziabad. Sir, it's an absolute pleasure having you here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Same here.
So, how has the event been so far?
The event has been great.
Okay.
And I've seen many educationists who are around, and they all have been sharing their viewpoint regarding the different themes which are going to be there.
So sorry for this.
No issues.
Usually
no
I'm
issues.
the one guarding this.
Fine. So this has been a great event. There have been many educationists who have been around, and they have shared their great viewpoints regarding the thing that they have been doing, and it's always wonderful to hear them. And so I congratulate the Business World Group for organizing this event, where so many thinkers are at one place.
Okay.
And a lot of thought processes are being generated, and a lot of new ideas are being generated in this conclave.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. So my first question to you is, how are B schools preparing their students to compete on a global platform? I mean, ultimately that's the goal, right?
Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely true. We are into a globalized scenario.
Right.
Where whatever happens in one country, we are affected across the globe in that. And the same is happening in the education arena also. The Indian education, specifically higher education, has to really gear up to come forward for the competition which is coming across for the international universities.
Okay.
As we all have seen across, the UGC has announced that the foreign university bill, and very soon we are going to see all the foreign universities, they would be lined up and having their campus in the country. Now, in this scenario, it is very important for the various education institutions to really, first of all, get across the curriculum which needs to be globalized. When I am saying that curriculum needs to be globalized, it doesn't mean that it is going to have only the subject which are being taught by the leading B schools. It is the pedagogy which plays a very important role. That pedagogy has to be revised.
Okay.
The content that is going to be delivered, presently we are talking about most of the content which is student-centric and the country-centric. Now that particular content actually has to revive, and it has to be global-centric. So that is the first level that I need to put across the students and exposure to the globalization. Second, giving them a global content. And third, giving them a global exposure. Taking the students across the borders of the country is an essential thing now. I don't think it is something which is just a marketing thing done by few of the institutions. So it has to be something which is mandatory, where the students should be taken abroad and given that exposure.
Okay.
So I think most of the organizations and most of the education institutions, they are also now coming out with these strategies, and they are reworking on their curriculum, keeping these all things in mind.
Okay. Now I want to understand from you. Okay, first of all, are we on the same page?
Yes.
In my opinion, the scenario has changed. Focus has shifted more towards skills rather than degrees. Are we on the same page on this?
Yes, absolutely true.
Okay. Following up on this, so what are B schools doing that online courses are not? I mean, given the plethora of online courses these days, how are B schools retaining their value?
Absolutely true. What has happened during the COVID and even before that, there were many edtech companies who actually came into being. They had very deep pockets, and they discounted the courses, developed the content, and they just started selling it here and there. They actually mass customized the entire curriculum. Now, when you see the Indian scenario, in Indian scenario, the Indian student, we have seen that Indian student needs to be driven to that learning part.
Okay.
When I'm saying driven to the learning part, that means there has to be a step-by-step approach from introduction to the final ending of that curriculum. So that has to be conducted, and the student has to be taken through that path. Now, what the edtech companies are actually assuming, or the online various players are actually assuming, that you get the student enrolled, Then there are going to be the video, they are going to quiz, they are going to the various XYZ things, and then see that the student is going to be self-motivated and he would be doing each and everything on its own, attempting and going through the course. Now, in our context, that is not as simple as that. If I see the foundation from our educational background, the schooling education itself, there itself we need that there has to be impetus which has to be given to the student. We give him certain content and then we make that content simpler for him to understand, and then we have to do hand holding to take him through the curriculum. That is something which as an Indian, our Indian system is already having it. Now here we are assuming that whether it is something having in the Western world, that I give you content, you read it and you're through. No, that's not the case. So there was a huge demand which was there, but of lately we have seen across most of these companies, they're not able to sustain themselves. And even the student is again recognizing that if I'm just have to sit in front of a TV screen, view certain videos and then take the things forward. So it can be a good thing as a value addition.
Right.
But I need to first of all have a core concept which is going to be there. So there the role of the faculty comes into being. The faculty understands the limitations or the weaknesses of the student, customizes the curriculum as per his requirement, and then he gives him the right impetus that this is the way you need to learn. That is the ancient philosophy, the Guru Shishya philosophy that we had since the ages. So that is something which is pretty successful, which helps the student or the learner to actually learn and develop. Skills play a major role. By seeing a video, I can be sensitized. But whether I would be able to develop their skills is a very difficult to really identify and really difficult to really foster that change. So people are seeing video, they are sensitizing, but end of the day, if they want to inculcate that into their personality, then they really have to work hard onto it and they need certain guidance for that.
Right.
So that is there when there is going to be a teacher who is there. He sees the mood, he sees where the exact input is required and then customizes things as per his requirement, and then the success story emerges. So the B schools who are actually understanding this, they already are adopting this phenomena. Pedagogy is being adopted, modified, and that it is being done. We are running a center for distance learning. So what we are doing is, we are having a content, the books which are written in such a simple way that anybody, when he reads it, he is able to understand it.
Okay.
So we say it is the self-learning material which is there. Then there are going to be the videos, and above all, the books and videos. Then there is going to be the classroom counseling session which are going to be there. So faculty is there who helps them and guides them that this is the content you have gone through. Now you come back to us and let us now again discuss the core concepts and let me clarify all your doubts which might be somewhere hidden into your memory or somewhere down your thought process. So let me clarify it. And when in a class, there are going to be 60 students, 70 students sitting, they all are discussing and they all are coming out with their ideas. So that's something that I have not thought of, my other classmate has thought of. So I get across that input also.
Right.
So my conceptual clarity improves a lot.
Okay. Okay.
So this is where the distinction lies. So the business schools, they are really gearing up with this. And the overall, the company who are just relying on the video content or just the content without the interface, the student and the faculty interface, those models would not be effective.
Okay. Now I know for this question I have an idea what your answer would be, but still it's my job to ask the question. Do you think degrees are still relevant, or
degrees are important. Whenever we are
focus shifted to skill-based learning?
When we are talking of the entire Indian scenario, one thing is, if I say that as a person, I know one thing. So in our country, where there are lots and lots of people who are around, and you put across the vacancy, there are going to be thousands of applications which are going to be there.
Right.
So the first level of shortlisting has to be done at some place. Okay, so here what we assume that when a person has done or attained a degree, that means at least one basic level he has attained. That is the first level. So that becomes a starting point for us getting into the interview process. Now, in the interview process, his skills that he has learned and developed that are going to start playing the role. So how he is going to impress upon the panel, that is one thing. He puts across whatever his learnings, and then second, he takes the if he gets through that job, then how he is going to really attain and keep that job along with him.
Right.
So there has to be a system where there has to be continuous improvement which is going to be there. Now, continuous improvement means this, it is going to be the skill based. Every time I do not think it would be wise for any student to go and run and then start doing a course, then again run and do a course. No. And you already have done a course. Now, gradually you have to improve upon the learning skills. That next level would be what, next level would be what. So your skill improves, your personality improves, and you are able to actually create a mark in whatever you are doing. Nowadays we talk of this concept is not just about the skills. We talk about the entrepreneurship is another thing. We are actually, it's not only that you are going to start a business. When you are doing a job itself, still at that point of time you need that entrepreneurial skill. When I talk about entrepreneurial skill, actually it implies that now you are going to have that passion of taking the things and ensuring that it is being completed or going to a logical conclusion. So that thing has to be inculcated, it has to be developed in the students.
Okay. So, okay, fine. Degrees are important. Skill-based learning is important, but there has to be a structure and interface.
Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely.
Now, that being said, how do these schools, particularly, how do these schools measure the learning outcome?
Yes.
Degree ho gayi, education ho gaya, but how is that learning outcome measured? So, these schools do something to measure that.
Yes, absolutely true. When we talk about the learning outcomes, the process starting first of all with the defining of what are the program educational outcomes. That if I say that I am having an MBA program, then I first of all need to define after this MBA program what the student would be attaining out of it. Then I break down that program structure into modules, and module there are going to be courses. Now, when I see first of all a bigger picture, that I see that after doing this program, the student is going to be, let's say, going to make a mark in terms of innovation or in terms of engineering or in terms of marketing or finance or something like that. That would be the starting point. In next 5 years, he would be able to create something good out of it, something which could help the society, something which could make a mark into whatever he's doing. So I try and put across that these are, if I want my student to be doing that, what are the inputs which are required? So inputs I put across them in the modules. These are the modules. After doing this module, he is going to have the fundamental concepts. He is going to understand this. Second thing, he is going to use that into development of certain live projects, or it could be a business plan, it could be a case study, it could be something which is, which is worthwhile and which is concrete. Then, in different courses, different programs, there are going to be different tools which are being defined. So we try to put across those learning goals. After this module, first goal attained, second goal attained, third goal attained, fourth goal attained. Fundamental concept done, specialization knowledge is being developed, specialization skills are being developed, then your societal considerations are being developed. That means you are not only just doing everything for the profit, you are also seeing how the society is benefited out of it. The social quotient has to increase, the emotional quotient has to increase, so that you become part of a team. So there are going to be those measurable milestones which are going to be defined. Keeping in mind the overall program objective. This is the outcome of the program. In next 5 years, the student is going to attain this. So this is the starting point. In 2 years, he should be getting into this level, and after this level and this level. So we try to define those scales and try to define those specific things that are required for a student to be doing.
That's actually very interesting how you even add EQ in there.
Yes, the emotional quotient is very important.
Yes.
Yeah, nah, because we have seen across in today's scenario, we are hooked across onto the social media a lot, and there are going to be so many things which are coming, or rather they are being bombarded across onto us. So many stimulus coming. Some are going to be pleasant, and most of them are going to be unpleasant. So how to handle those unpleasant things?
True.
Yeah, nah. So that means you need to be emotionally stable. You should not get swayed because somebody has said me this. What should I be doing? है ना? So that becomes a very important part of the entire learning process. And we want that person to be part of a society. Rather than this, not that I'm a very great learner, I'm a very great scientist, so I'm out of the society. No.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you are into the society, so you should be able to develop those specific skills.
Right.
So emotionally, that person needs to be stable, then only he's able to contribute.
Right.
Yeah, otherwise, the actual contribution will never come.
Right. Thank you so much.